Love is full of sacrifices. Love is complex, a mix of emotions, behaviors, and beliefs associated with strong feelings of affection, protectiveness, warmth, and respect for another people. But love makes it more stronger when a man shows a courtship to a woman. Courtship is the period in which an intimate relationship, getting to know each other, and decided if there will be an engagement. Now, our group will show to you how diverse courtship is and how courtship done in Filipino, American, Chinese, Muslims, and tribal.
Paniligaw or ligawan are Tagalog terms of courtship. Traditionally, courtship in the Philippines is by making effort through singing romantic love songs, reciting poems, writing letters, and gift-giving. A man is interested in courting a woman has to be discreet and friendly at first, in order not to be seen as too aggressive or too presumptuous. These traditional love ideas or practices still happen today. But now, there are some adjustments. For example, courting is becoming easier because of modern technology. Men and women use mobile devices to contact each other. Unlike before, men use traditional methods to show their love and affections toward women. Though there are some differences between traditional and modern love ideas, the concept of love is still there. Whether you are following the traditional or modern methods, you'll never be tired of showing how you value your loved ones.
Back in the days prior to the 20th century, Americans, just like any other country, court in a more private, unemotional affair. Just like any traditional courtships, if a man is interested in a woman, he would come to the woman's home to meet her family and introduce himself. If the parents approve their relationship, the man could come back anytime for visits and be free to call or meet with the woman in the hours guaranteed or specified by her parents. However, as years passed by, modernization occurred. Dating came into the picture, which drastically changed the American way of courtship. Young people could date for fun and for experience, or even sleep together. There are no rules to be followed in dating. That's why young people could do what they want anytime and anywhere, which started the concept of hookups and one-night stands. This change in the American way of courtship has greatly influenced a lot of cultures as well, where young couples could date but not end up in marriage.
QI, or courtship in China, has two stages, namely the arrangement and the formal date. The arrangement stage begins when a man or a woman shows interest at someone and they ask a mutual friend or an acquaintance to set up a gathering or a group date for them to be able to interact with one another. If things go well during the arrangement stage, the woman will then give consent to the man and the formal first date begins. Unlike the Western way of courtship, it is more than just a simple consensus to go on a date with a woman. If she allows you to go on a date with her, she is probably considering you as a viable candidate to be her husband. Then, on the second date granted, she is open for the possibility of an actual wedding. All ends at the third date. The Western believes that it is time for them to sleep together, but in China, both parties are now seriously considering a wedding shortly. Intimacy is greatly valued in Chinese courtship and is only given to someone you are intended to marry. Shishi.
Courtship in Islam is forbidden because a romantic affair between man and a woman before marriage is considered not valid. However, marriage is the purest form of relationship between lovers. Its goal is for the lovers to unite for the sake of God. It is different from Western culture because in Western cultures, their courtship begins with one is infatuated with one another. However, in this pandemic, Islamic views on relationship or courtship has not changed greatly, nor influenced by Western views on courtship. But there is only one obvious thing that changed in Islamic courtship, that is grand weddings and Christianized wedding style. Islamic marriage should only be done in a humble way.
So, the courtship tribal, it is this same to the most popular no courtship gesture in the Philippines, as it is a very romantic and emotionally appealing harana. It is a traditional courtship and emotionally practices where men introduce themselves and woo their admired lady by surrendering, underwriting her window at night, giving the sweet combination of Spanish-influenced songs and of the wonderful Tagalog poem and lyricism, surrendering the woman of your dream on a busy night in such a commendable and extremely sweet courtship act you could ever perform. While it was a great advantage of a colonial gentleman in the Philippines to possess certain musician ability, it had not ever become a problem of if he did lack ability in singing or playing the guitar during those times when harana was still commonly done in the Philippines. Gentlemen who were not blessed with the gift of music can still court their desired ladies through harana. They had done this by way of inviting their friends and other musicians in town accompany them in executing this romantic gesture in such a way. Harana was certainly not a solidarity move. It had become a social event for dating and love. At presenting harana is no longer commonly dating practices among young lovers in the Philippines, although there are still gentlemen who perform to render the love songs of their chosen lady. They no longer perform this outside their house. Instead, plenty of them do this at malls, clubs, and during parties when the end of goal of creating a higher flicker of emotion, most especially in the front of the public eyes. And I believe that today pandemics, there are some changes, but it is still here forever on how Filipino people dealing with their loved ones and showing respect of their family and also the woman. Now, there are some invented that social media and there are still called the courtship tribal, and they may still apply those old courtship in the Philippines like harana.
In the Philippines, there are various tribes. Now, I will discuss you what is the way of courting or the courtship in Lumad tribe. In Lumad, they do dancing, and as they do dancing, a woman should carry a bamboo stick which is called as solaroy, and the man should carry a 2-string guitar which is called as koblong. And whoever the woman dances, then he is the one chosen to be married. And also, in Lumad, there is buyuan, or it means that a man should give whatever family wants. And for example, if family wants a 10 hectares land, a 10 carabaos, 10 pigs, then you as a man, you should give it to the family so that you will be married to the woman you love.
Tribes from around the world practice courtship in many different ways. Let us start off with the Ediong tribe of Cambodia and the Zulu tribe of Africa. When their daughters reach her teen years, she is then put in a love hut on where she gets to spend the night with many different young men from her tribe. This way, she can get to spend a little time in getting to know them before she makes her choice. Next, we have the Guueendie tribe from Niger. Their way of courtship is influenced by nature, as they see birds and bees do it. The Guevarra, as they call it, is an annual ritual on where young men participate in dressing up in elaborate ornamentations and put on their face paint. Their goal is to sing and dance and impress one of the judges, which is a young and marriageable woman. Though these tribes have different ways of courting, they have one thing in common. The man that can impress the woman the most is most likely to be picked.
Love is experienced through courtship and courtesy. A courtship may be an informal and private matter between two people, or maybe a public affair, or a formal arrangement with family approval. But what interesting me most is that the difference of today and before. The way of courtship before, you can see and feel the respect, visiting houses of a girl, showing their efforts through making love letters was there. Unlike today, mass courtship among us is done through social media. Courting is becoming easier because of modern technology, which is very lax and has a few rules. We can never deny the fact that there is a big changes between traditional and modern way of courtship. Even though courtship is diverse, but what matters most is that an intimate relationship should put in their hearts and minds that the loyalty and commitment to each other should be there.
That's it for this video. I hope you learned a lot on how courtship is done through the various traditions that is presented on this video.